Hi guys, Ray here, City Fan TV, and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend. That is Bernard Dineen. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, so I saw our other brother from another mother last night. I passed him on the A1M, is it, or wherever he is, on that big guy with his arms outstretched.
All right, the Angel of the North.
the big iron thing. So that big monster thing.
I was
Yeah,
wondering where you were going with that one.
I used to think there was a Newcastle shirt on it, but obviously that must have been that must have been some sort of promotion back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day. Look, guys, obviously we lost against Newcastle in the third round of the Carabao Cup. One person that especially came in for a lot of comments, not most of it not very favourable, is Kalvin Phillips. Now, we know Calvin's had a bit of a struggle at City. Last season he played, I can't remember, it was about 130 odd, 150 minutes in the whole season. Now, there are some mitigating circumstances. He was injured a couple of times last season. There's nothing you can do about injuries, really. And so that has an impact. He has Rodri to compete with. So that has an impact. So you know you're not probably going to be a first choice player when there's no one better in the world than Rodri. So that's the difficulty. But the way City played last season, we were playing with two men in midfield. So Rodri would have sometimes Rico Lewis supporting him. He'd have John Stones. I think a couple of times Akanji was there, but not Kalvin Phillips. Now, it got to the stage last season where it was quite obvious Pep didn't trust him. And I think part of that was just because he had a stop-start, or basically a stop-stop season last season. He never had a possibility to get into any rhythm. And Pep, towards the end of the season, had a settled side. And not even Foden, when he came back from injury and his operation, his appendicitis thing, he couldn't get back into the starting lineup, even though he'd started the season on fire. So, it was very difficult for Kalvin to get into the side. So this season starts. Kalvin's had some game time. He played the game last night. Obviously, no Rodri. There's 2 more games with no Rodri coming up because of his sending off. How do you react to how Kalvin played last night? Does it fill you with hope for his future at City?
Well, I don't think he'll be playing against Wolves, which is the next one that we're doing after this game. I didn't see enough there last night to warrant that. But again, it was the sort of team that you put any player who's not got rhythm, as you said, not been playing consistently, into that sort of team, and they're going to struggle. It's different putting him into a quality team, if you like, say 9 or 10 of our top players. He would be a different player. And it was a funny game last night. As I say, we had a lot of control over it. Phillips was doing his part, etc. But there are also times in the game where we looked a little bit lax and a lack of effort, I thought, at times, which seemed a bit odd. I think we got a little bit stressed out in that second half. And Phillips, accordingly, as the team did, sort of went down a little level at times. And that's a problem. But, if Rodri had been fit, would he have played in this? Not fit, sorry, not been banned. No, would he? Phillips would have got a chance, but to me, he's not exactly punched up. I think Pep said about rhythm that you mentioned the word there and stuff, and it's hard when he's not. And he said it in a nice way that he probably didn't have the greatest game, but he's not a disaster. I'm not falling for all the garbage that you see on social media. He will certainly in a better team. He'll play better. And last night it was really just one of those games where it was going to be a struggle for him. And other seasoned professionals who've been with us 2 or 3 years struggled and been playing regular. So no surprise to see Phillips not outstanding, just okay. Yeah, and it's okay.
He's an easy target. He's an easy target because of what's gone on in the past and what Pep said. And let's see. I mean, I think both of us were in the same boat, that we wanted Phillips to have another chance this season to see what he's about, because you've got to give people a second season. You've got to do that. But the worry is as well, you compare him to some of the new players that we've got in. Kovacic, he's hit the ground running. Okay, he's a triple Champions League winner and, he's a top player. He's come in, hit the ground running. Gvardiol, 21 years old, come in, hit the ground running. Doku, he's come in, he's another 21 years old, he's hit the ground running. Matheus Nunes, even though he has played in the Premier League before last season, he seems to have hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Phillips, in his second season, isn't doing as good as those guys. And then you look at the kids we had playing against Newcastle. Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, even Sergio Gomez. They all put in, I think, decent performances in a slightly disjointed team against opposition, especially in that second half, who were just too good for us. And Kalvin didn't even get, I think, to their heights. And then when Pep says stuff like, Pep said after the game, was it after the game? He said, it's a shame I can't get the same out of Kalvin Phillips that Marcelo Bielsa got out of him at Leeds. And you think, hang on, why can't you get, are you blaming, I don't think Pep is not blaming himself, although it kind of semi-appears that he can't get more out of him. But I don't think Pep's blaming himself. He's saying, he doesn't know how to get more.
I think there's a lack of. Do you think with the injury and all what's happened, it's just something a lot in there as well with Kalvin at the moment?
I don't think so. I think he's just too slow, slow of thought. Pep's criticised him in the past. Basically, he can't pass the ball quick enough. The way, if you look at Rico Lewis playing, it is a lot of one touch in passing the ball accurately in small spaces. And Kalvin Phillips doesn't do that.
Yeah, I suppose with England, it's all a little bit slower, isn't it, as well? He looks far better for England, but as you said, it doesn't really work. I thought it was more comfortable in the first half against Newcastle because it was all a lot slower. It was a lot, as you said. But once the pace up, once Newcastle upped the pace and we had to respond accordingly, it's different. And you said before about Stones and Lewis playing these roles that affect what Phillips does. And you said you've got people like Núñez, Gvardiol, and Kovacic now who can probably play a similar role as well. So he's down the pecking order. He's going, and we do worry because there's no more EFL games now for him to play in. He might get. If we can sort out the Champions League and get it won within 3 or 4 games, get the victories on the board, he may get a game or two there. But where's he going? At this crucial point in the season with some big games coming up, he's not going to get the opportunities.
Yeah. FA Cup's not till January. 5th group game in the Champions League is in November, I think. So from October, for the next 6 weeks, where's he going to play? Like you say, we've got, obviously, Rodri suspended for the next 2 games. And nobody that I've seen on social media has suggested that Kalvin Phillips will start. Because you look at the game, let's look at the Wolves game briefly, without going in and previewing it. We've got a choice of DMs. We've got Kovacic. I'm thinking Kovacic will play as... Would you think he'll play as a DM with another midfielder alongside him?
Yeah, I've got him down in my 11. Yeah, with obviously.
I'm looking at that game and
people like Núñez. Even Núñez can do that sort of.
I want somebody with experience. I want somebody with experience, and that comes in Núñez or Kovacic. Alongside him, you can play a Kanji. I'm not sure if John Stones is fit yet, or you can play Rico Lewis. You can play Núñez. I suspect you could play Núñez alongside Kovacic. And as your attacking midfield, you could, for instance, play.
Well, for me, Aki's the odd one out. So I mean, Gvardiol comes into it as well, and he can play that role as well, rather than defensive. He's there as well. So Phillips for Wolves. I'm sorry, if he's in that starting 11, I'm not going to rip my hat because I don't own one, but I'm not going to anything worse. So but.
I just can't see it because when you look at the players we've got, I can see Alvarez and Foden, for argument's sake, being attacking midfielders. Haaland up top, Doku on one side, maybe, not for me, but Jack Grealish on the other side, Núñez and Kovacic as your DMs, floating around one of them, and as one like a double pivot, as one goes up, comes back. I just can't see a spot for Kalvin Phillips, and if he can't get in against Wolves, he's got no chance against Arsenal.
Yeah, Wolves are in no sort of form whatsoever, really. So, as you say, he's got no chance with Arsenal, no chance probably when we come back from the international break either.
Well, Rodri's back after the Arsenal game.
Yeah. Well, he's had his rest now. He won't be getting any more rest, will he?
So, I mean, do you think, and also the way Pep has said, it's the way they've talked about him, to say he had the opportunity to leave permanently or go on loan. He decided to stay and fight. And the way they talk about it is that that's not what we wanted. We wanted him gone, and because we told him he's not going to be playing, but he's decided to fight. And I said it in a previous chat with you that I can understand one of the reasons. Yes, he wants to show what he said it. I wanted to show what I'm really about. Well, we've seen that, and it's still not good enough. And also, when he leaves City, he's 27 years old. The chances of him getting a top club, top 6 club, he had the opportunity with Liverpool. Should have taken it. I think he'd have done all right there. But he's probably going to go to a club that's not going to be challenging for the trophies that City are. If he'd gone to West Ham, for instance, yes, he'd have got Europa League football, but they're not going to be challenging. That was their once in a blue moon. After 43 years, they won a trophy last season. And at City, at least he's picking up silverware. But there'll come a point where he'll say, well, maybe his England spot is in jeopardy. There'll come a point where he has the pride that he wants to play, and he can turn around and say, look, I've won the treble last season, even though I played about 135 minutes. I've got the European Super Cup this season. Let's say we win a couple more pots. He could look at that and say, that's enough trophies. Let's get back to playing football, please. But different players, they've got different ideas. Laporte's gone to play in Saudi Arabia for the money. Bayern Munich are looking for a defender. People do things for their own reasons. But, I don't know. I've never been a professional footballer. What would you do in Kalvin Phillips' position if this season is as poor in terms of minutes as last season? Would you say next summer I've got to go?
Yeah, I mean, the closest comparison you make of the guy they wanted sort of had the chance to go and didn't, it was Zinchenko, and he was pulling up trees. He was producing the performances, but if Kalvin's not getting, if Kalvin gets the opportunities, he's not producing those performances. He's just wasting his time. And as you said, all right, he was a big fish at Leeds. All right, top 6 is out, but there's a lot of good clubs who will probably take it because he's in England. He's an England player at the end of the day. So there's a lot of good clubs who will take him on. But as you say there, as a character, as a person, I love Kalvin Phillips. I want him to do the best for City he can. But at this point in time, the writing is, it's the writing on the wall isn't great for him. And I say, reading between the lines, listening to what Pep says, as you said there, you've got to think that this is it, and he'll be gone by the start of next season. Well, unless all of a sudden a miracle happens and he does start pulling up trees.
Well, we've said it. I mean, Rico Lewis is higher up in the pecking order than Kalvin Phillips. John Stones is higher up in the pecking order than Kalvin Phillips. And when Rodri's back, one of those two will play alongside Rodri. And then we've got Nunez and Kovacic. Those 4 are above.
It's a very small, tight squad, but unfortunately, he's probably on the last couple of names.
And the other thing for him is that's the only place he can play. Gvardiol can play left back, left centre back. Rico Lewis can play on the wing or full back or there. John Stones, centre back, right back.
Well, that's the other thing is obviously we don't see what's going on in training, but Pep does get more out of players. And this is probably why he's frustrated, perhaps because he's a player he's not able, even in training, to see that he can get more out of. And that's part of the problem. He's literally stuck with what he does and he can't develop anywhere else.
I think the biggest thing is from what a lot of negativity that Pep has come out with, even though he's tried to make it look, sitting on the fence, the undercurrent is negative. He can't pass that ball quickly in tight spaces like the others do, like that Rondo, like Lewis has come through the system. He's able to do that. Nunez is able to do that. He's come through it from Portugal. It's a different way of life.
He's probably not doing it on the training ground. If he's not doing it on the training ground, and obviously he's got no chance of doing it in a match situation, and that's probably what they're seeing day in, day out, and that's probably why they're frustrated. And perhaps Pep didn't you can only see so much for a player. All right, they see more than 10-minute YouTube thing that we get to see of these new players, but and he obviously gets reports from other people, his scouts, etc., etc. You can only go on that. There's only so much and obviously Pep's probably thinking, it's not quite what I wanted.
here's the thing: you can get the occasional choice wrong. I mean, but as you say, Kalvin Phillips was a regular England player.
Yeah, I think he's played well. I used to watch him for England. Thought he was okay, but England, usually played crap teams and got through.
Yeah. So, well, there you go, guys. I think we both agree this could and should be Kalvin Phillips's last season. We've got nothing against the guy, just being honest, and he's not. I don't think there's anything wrong with
His
being
own
honest.
sake, like anything, we want him as a footballer. He wants to play football. We love playing football when we were younger. That's what we wanted to do. But he wants to play football, but he will have to seek that elsewhere. I think by the time when the time comes.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot, Bernard, for that, and hopefully. You guys have picked up on all those insights, and our feeling is Kalvin Phillips. I think he's got to be gone.
Not even a last chance saloon at the moment, is it? It's just not any sort of saloon.
Not saloon. It's a swinging door. So he walks in and he's walking out. Thanks a lot, Bernard. And guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. We'll see you around, Blues.